I'm going to run that right now. And I'm also going to read this fucking article really quickly. At the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5 or for free. Or get gifted a sub like one of the 10 from Black Catarot. Okay. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. And let's read this article real quick. Twitch star HasanAbi Piker picks apart a grainy black and white video of flashing lights frame by frame. Eventually, he reaches a conclusion. These are not detonations happening near a Ukrainian nuclear power plant, one of the biggest in all of Europe. They're car alarms going off in the wake of a firefight between Ukrainian and Russian forces. Switches tabs on a clip of CNN journalist Anderson Cooper discussing the ramifications of the skirmish. Cooper states that it's unclear if rockets or missiles are deployed. Piker 30 is exasperated. Bro, they literally know just as much as we do, he says. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began, Twitch streamers have worked to unpack the crisis for viewers in real time. The war's coverage on Twitch is a new wrinkle in the international reporting of a war that's being viewed by millions on live streams, where the standards and format for sharing and discussing information on the conflict vary distinctly from traditional news outlets. Piker, an unabashedly leftist broadcaster who's raised over $200,000 for Ukrainian relief funds, is Twitch's premier political pundit, regularly pulling over 70,000 simultaneous viewers since the conflict began late last month, adding up to the millions of total viewers each day. Meanwhile, Twitch has averaged 2.8 million concurrent viewers across the platform at any given moment in 2022, according to the analytics site Twitch Tracker, putting its regular collective viewership above that of cable networks like CNN, which averaged 1 million simultaneous viewers during the prime time as of late 2021, according to Adweek, which is owned by Amazon, whose founder, Jeff Bezos, owns the Washington Post. Piker is hardly alone. A plethora of Twitch streamers have spent the past week and a half sifting through countless tweets, TikToks, and reports from mainstream outlets in an effort to provide up-to-minute coverage of Europe's biggest war since World War II. They do this in a time when TikTok especially has been used to disseminate vast quantities of both on-the-ground footage from Ukraine and misinformation, and when even mainstream news outlets struggle to separate signal from the noise, some Twitch streamers attempt to counter or question the narratives presented by mainstream news. Others seek to train their audiences so they're not easy to mislead. Most just hope to cut through the clutter and gain a firm grasp on what's happening during a time of unprecedented chaos. Wait, what the fuck? Inside Twitch's coverage? Wait, Twitch's misinformation policy, impact on the Russian streamers, younger demographic on Twitch? What is this video?
It could be
it's certainly like
crazy. This is a long ass video. Holy shit, it's 2 hours long. And in front of a massive live viewership, streamers see their ability to do so while in direct conversation with their audiences. If you're watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox, you can disagree with a position or have a question. Yelling at the TV does nothing. Dylan Burns TV, 21, a Twitch streamer and former director of the Maryland branch of Mike Gravel's 2020 presidential campaign. But in my Twitch community, it's the exact opposite. Wait, that dude worked with Mike Gravel? Isn't he like a ruthless neoliberal? Am I wrong? How the fuck did he go from working with Mike Gravel to like being like the type of dude who says stuff like one of Gravel's biggest fucking takes is that he's a designated anti-imperialist. That's crazy. What the fuck? 21-year-old who wants to make money. I mean, I will respond in real time. That's important. Piker and his contemporaries all adopt a similar format. From a webcam windows in the bottom corner of their screens, they display web browsers bristling with tabs, each leading to a tweet, video, or news report. From there, they discuss the goings-on of the day and engage their viewers with live chat, where messages fly by at 1 million miles per hour. While the streamers rarely contribute original reporting, they curate the news, sometimes with aids of notable guests like Chelsea Manning, often for 8 or more hours per day. Sometimes their conversations are constructive, with both streamers and viewers learning and scrutinizing new information in tandem. Other times, they're more antagonistic, with a streamer calling out a viewer who's, say, spreading misinformation. Casual, low-budget approach that stands in stark contrast to the sort of coverage which mainstream networks pump millions of dollars. The fog of war. While streamers in the West are finding audiences for their aggregated coverage of war, on-the-ground accounts in Ukraine are harder to find on Twitch than on the more mobile-oriented TikTok. In the past 7 days, Ukrainian language streams averaged just 358 concurrent viewers all across Twitch, according to a tracker, though Ukrainian streamers also sometimes broadcast in Russian or English. Many, like Alexander Sonia Bukochava, a Ukrainian streamer and a pro Apex Legends player for the esports organization Natus Vincere, I've given up on streaming for the time being. I left my home city of Kyiv to ensure my safety and left everything that I'm used to streaming there. Right now, I'm sitting and looking at the news all day, hoping this invasion ends ASAP. What I'm thinking about the most is how all my problems are tiny compared to what's happening now. I was really passionate about growing my channel and community for so long, and as sad as my heart, I can't do it anymore. But at least I'm alive, says Vesicrypt. Western streamers have relied on other social media platforms' information that chats crowdsource and mainstream news sources for their coverage. While streamers lack the funding and manpower of mainstream networks, they've gained a speed advantage during a time when everybody, traditional networks included, has their eyes glued to social media. I feel like a lot more of the media is relying on content from social media relative to previous major conflicts, said Mike from PA Buyer, 37, a Twitch streamer and former Pennsylvania House of Representatives candidate. So I might be able to get in front of a network television on some of these sources because I'm more connected to what's viral and not. As an example, he pointed to a video of a Russian transport that ran out of fuel on the side of a highway, which he said appeared on some mainstream networks a day or two after he discovered it online last week, positioned by those networks as evidence that Russia is bogged down and struggling. Regardless of the narratives extrapolated, it makes sense that such footage would take on longer to appear on a mainstream network, CNN, for example, as a series of best practices for geolocating and verifying social media footage. Allowing the network to ensure it's not fake or old. These involve identifying landmarks, matching weather forecasts, and drawing on NASA active fire data. Oh, okay. Except they literally do get fucking shit wrong, even with all of that. So, there are downsides to a platform-wide coverage approach that relies on the avalanche of information furiously curated by streamers and their audiences. For one, misinformation is inevitable. Byer says he does his best to vet the information before presenting it, but on occasions when that's not possible, say when news is breaking and chat's bringing it to his attention, he tries to provide as many disclaimers as possible. Anytime I present a social media video, I only do so with extreme caveats about the legitimacy of it as non-verified information. Sometimes it takes an audience to point out that something is fake, but Burns cautioned that one person runs the show, the streamer. Your chat might correct you later, or you might correct yourself later, but that is after the fact, possibly after the damage has been done. And who is that streamer going to have to answer for spreading misinformation? I wonder where this take is going. Last week, Twitch rolled out a new misinformation policy. We already talked about it. While streamers often work with volunteer chat moderators and bigger ones like Piker are represented by talent agencies, they're not networks or newsrooms. Sometimes this redounds to their belief. Streamers have readily admitted that they aren't infallible or objective. Piker, for example, has taken no small amount of flack for repeatedly insisting Russia would not invade Ukraine during his February broadcast. Then it happened. He went on to apologize and explain his reasoning. Didn't think a regional power would act so irrationally, Piker said on Twitter. I've admitted my mistakes. I got things wrong. I hope Ukrainians are safe. Wow, I wonder why this article is not harping on it endlessly. No, of course it's fair. It's a fair thing to write in your article. But what's not fair is even dude, you guys are so stupid. This is not flaming. Like, these are things that happened. And no, they didn't reach out for comment. But I never respond to news bits anyway on purpose. Misconceptions and deception. Nathan, who wrote this article, is probably in here right now, by the way. He's in here all the time. And it's a very fair representation. You guys are being ridiculous. You think there's a difference between someone writing an article and the shitters in the chat who are literally doing everything they can to turn around and continue misinforming people about what my intentions are or whatever. Misconceptions. Streamers like Buyer and Piker, both of whom previously worked for left-leaning online news shows, The Majority Report and The Young Turks, respectively, pride themselves on providing context rooted in anti-imperialist politics. Twitch's audience demographics suggest such a stance perspective could resonate with viewers. 70% of Twitch viewers are between the ages of 16 and 34, according to Twitch's official demographic statistics, and politically, streamers on the platform predominantly lean left. While both Buyer and Piker oppose Russia's invasion, they have emphasized U.S.'s role in paving a path towards the current conflict, as well as U.S. history of invasions. Buyer views it as his responsibility to convey skepticism of overarching narratives to his audience. Whenever I watch Western, mostly American media, it's very focused on the perceptions of Russian failure, because geopolitically, we wanted to see Russian military fail. I feel like I've been editorially more responsible in a lot of ways than what's going on in cable television. Referring to the social media post of the Russian truck, maybe Russia's having this problem, but a couple days is not enough time to make these kind of pronouncements. and how much of that is just spin from intelligence services with a perspective being repeated uncritically. In a time of mass uncertainty and contradictory narratives, streamers see opportunities for teachable moments. If misinformation is inevitable, at the very least, viewers can be taught in real time to look for its telltale signs. I do that all the time as well, as you guys already know. This approach can lead streamers into tricky territory. Last week, for instance, Burns plucked a viewer out of his text chat for an on-air voice discussion. It quickly became clear that his viewer was convinced of the Putin-endorsed notion that Ukraine had been covertly commandeered by Nazis. Burns repeatedly stated that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is Jewish and lost family members in World War II, and Ukraine's far-right Svoboda party could only procure 2% of the vote in a recent election, and that Ukraine's far-right Azov regiment accounts for under 1,000 members in Ukraine's total armed forces, which number in the hundreds of thousands. Even after nearly an hour of back and forth, the viewer remained unmoved. In that time, though, he was able to espouse numerous conspiracy theories to Burns' audience of thousands of concurrent viewers. Get fucked, debate lords. Still, Burns believes that in a time when misinformation lurks around every corner, tackling it head on makes more sense than trying to cover it up. I think one of the best ways to smash these misconceptions is to challenge someone who actually believes them. You're showing your audience that you are confident in your ideas and the facts are on your side. Oh, man. It also means that next time anyone who saws these live debunking hears one of these fallacious points, they will have the tools to deconstruct it themselves and hopefully change minds. Twitch said it enforces policies not only on streamers, but against chatters who regularly spread misinformation, far less visibly than streamers, blah, blah, blah. Twitch is shit. I don't care. Global Disinformation Index. Okay. But misinformation thrives on repetition. Speaking to The Atlantic, Mike Caulfield, a researcher at the University of Washington Center of Informed Public, pointed to the way conspiratorial narratives surrounding January 6th insurrection, some of which surfaced in fringe circles almost immediately, only really took hold after media scrutiny of the event died down. Twitch does not allow videos of graphic real-world violence for the purpose of news coverage. Streamers believe that as more and more viewers come to Twitch to follow current events, that will need to change. This is extremely frustrating because I believe war coverage should be include detailed footage of the war in question, said Burns, who recently received his first ever warning from Twitch for depicting violence on stream. People should be able to see the full extent of horror Putin's government has unleashed on Ukraine. Yeah, we should literally show dead fucking Ukrainian flesh. No. Obviously, I think that Twitch should be more understanding of like accidental slips and mishaps, but ultimately I am not a fan of the war porn personally. Like, yeah, no, we shouldn't. You don't need to watch Live Leak reacts to fucking actually gain perspective. Anyway, people should just not look to YouTubers and streamers for news, he said. That is absolutely a god-awful idea. Do not trust me, any of my contemporaries, or construct your worldview for you. There are a million different resources you could utilize in order to research hot-button political issues. There are news agencies, research institutes, think tanks, and a whole host of other places where the neoliberal slant can absolutely fucking spear dick the back of your mind for this kind of information. Diversify your media consumption generally, really. I mean, I agree. You should diversify your media consumption, but always understand the personal biases that said think tanks and research institutes have, especially as it pertains to foreign policy, a concept which literally just has 100% bipartisan consensus in every facet, and that people will literally do everything in their power to disparage you and say you are working for the enemy, you are working for terrorists, the moment that you strive even briefly outside of that orthodox thinking. Yeah. Don't listen to streamers, listen to the think tanks. Obviously, personally, I don't think that, you should just listen to streamers. It's fucking terrible. Don't do that. That's stupid. Fuck do we know? But hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.